Hey everyone, would you like to save some money on stocking up on necessities for wound care? This is the video for you. Whether you get impaled in the yard by stepping on something or whether you cut yourself with that chainsaw, splitting wood or whatever you're doing, you get a splinter that goes through something, you're going to need a lot of gauze. And you can go out and you can buy gauze yourself. But one, where are you going to keep that gauze? And two, it's actually cheaper to get it in bulk from Refuge Medical. I'm going to walk you through their wound care bucket. You may have seen these elsewhere. They are giving a 10% discount code. So that's a great win. If you're going to be going out and buying that anyway, make sure you do use a discount code to get that. It's going to be Poplar, as in the tree. Right? It'll be down in the description and in the comments section down below. Now, Refuge Medical did send me this kit at no cost to me to review, to look it over. I was skeptical. I'm going to say that. I'm always skeptical of fancy kits, especially when I start seeing items that I can buy on Amazon or even at Walmart. But I've done the math. Accountant Steve has gone through there and tried to replicate one of these buckets, and I'll tell you what, it's cheaper to buy from them. It surprises me to say that. It's cheaper to buy from these guys. All right, so they have a discount code. They sent me this, and also if you do generate that link, use that link, I do get a little bit of a kickback on the other side just for full disclosure there, but it does save you 10% off their price. So let's walk through the bucket here, but to give you the overarching math number here, if you use the discount code, you're going to be looking at $125 plus $10 shipping. That's $135. So is this a drop in the bucket of your budget? For some of you, it might be. Some of you, it's going to be a little bit more a bigger part of your budget. And I'm going to get into why that's important. I tried replicating this bucket, and I cut some corners even to replicate this bucket, and it cost me $161 to replicate this thing. So you get it for $135. It would cost you $161 to replicate it off Walmart and Amazon. And I would say some of the things that I got I don't think are as high quality as the stuff you're going to get in here. Now, the standard bucket is going to come with 100 nitrile gloves. Remember that if you're going to be treating other people or even people in your own family, are you sure that they don't have a latex allergy? Because that would be a really horrible time to find out. Nitrile gloves don't really cost much more. I think they might actually be about the same, but this is the industry standard. Nitrile gloves, 100 of them. That way you don't get blood on your hands. You need to protect yourself. You have little cuts on your hands from working outside, digging in the dirt and all that kind of stuff like that. You're going to need nitrile gloves to keep the blood from getting into your system and potentially infecting you. And also, you don't want to infect these people, right? You don't want to infect the people that you're trying to help. If you've been working outside, you're going to have rough calluses and stuff on your hands. It's going to be harder to get your hands sanitized. So nitrile gloves are definitely a big go. I'm going to say that I'm actually a fan of the lighter colored. Some folks would suggest that it's better to go with the blue. That way the blood doesn't freak people out. But I think that in a survival situation, I think it's more important to know where the blood is, and so having a light colored glove will allow you to see the blood. So if you're getting blood on your hands, it's, where's the blood coming from, right? That's important. To disinfect areas around wounds and such like that, you got iodine. This stuff is actually more pricey than it would seem out there. It's just really nice having in these bottles and stuff like that. This is actually kind of expensive to get elsewise. This is like $15 worth of iodine. Remember, this is for treating any kind of wounds. This is not like you're going out to get into a battle with the bad guys, and so you bring your bucket along, right? This is not a first aid kit. This is it's like sort of like a med station, or to resupply first aid kits, possibly even. So when we get into like rolled gauze and stuff like that, you're going to need these in your first aid kits. So your individual first aid kit, like IFAC. So if you do have a kit of boomsticks and all that stuff like that, you're going to, if you ever use any of this, you're going to need to replenish your gauze. This doesn't really cost all that much, but you can get this pretty cheap out there, and I recommend even getting more boxes of rolled gauze because that's really useful stuff. What's harder to get on the civilian market, unless you like own a hospital or something like that, are going to be what this bucket really is composed of, which is these gauze pads. If you work at a hospital, you go through a bazillion of these, right? And this bucket is a bazillion of these. So you got your 2x2 gauze pads, 100 of those. You got your what are these? These are 4x4s. There's 100 of these 4x4s. That's quite a bit of those. These are the big 5x9ers, I believe. 5x9ers. We got 50 of these, so a lot of gauze, as you can see. And there's even more gauze than that. We got some 3x3s, 80 of those. And we got some really big 8x10ers, 16 of those. So, as you can see, quite a bit of stuff. Now, they did throw in the bucket there some hydrogen peroxide and some alcohol. This stuff's dirt cheap. You should have more than what's in this bucket. You should have more stocked up. Hydrogen peroxide is useful for indoor gardening as antifungal stuff. Also, antifungal on you if you need it too. So if you get something on your toes or something like that, or you get some trench foot, you're going to want to have some hydrogen peroxide for that. Also good for sterilization. Alcohol, you need more alcohol than this. I got a couple flats of rubbing alcohol. It's dirt cheap. Go get some. In addition to what you have in the bucket, they have a triple antibiotic ointment. Once again, you can pick that stuff up at Walmart. Tape. You need medical tape to hold bandages in place and all that kind of stuff like that. For boo-boos, any first aid kit that you have, you should have a bunch of boo-boos, Band-Aids basically, on there, because you don't want people using the bigger dressing. If somebody starts taking an 8x10 out or 5x7 pad or 5x9 pad and starts using it on like a little cut, it's just like, stop! Don't do that. Use a Band-Aid. Come on. Use a 2x2 and a Band-Aid, right? Don't do overkill. So having that right at the top for anyone who's needing that, you can start unpacking this. When times are good, you can just stock this up in the corner and just run people straight to the hospital and you're good to go. But then knowing that if somebody shows up at your house to change dressings and stuff like that, and they don't have the equipment they need, which we're hearing some reports of out there, you can actually provide what they need. I know they shouldn't be showing up at your house without what they need, but there are shortages of a lot of medical things out there, and this is going to be the best $135 you spent out there. If you've spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on boomsticks and all the kit that goes with that, and seeds to go into your Freedom dispenser and all that kind of stuff, how much have you spent on medical? Because if you're poking holes in things with your boomstick, there's a good chance that people are going to try poking holes in you and people you care about. Things go both ways in the real world, right? And when that happens, you are going to need to deal with wounds. And you may be able to deal with a wound with your individual first aid kit out in the field, but when you get back, treating that wound, any of you who've had wounds that you've had to deal with, whether from surgeries, that kind of thing, you go through a ton of gauze. They have to keep changing the dressing, right? You need to have lots and lots stockpiled because even a relatively minor wound will need to be changed multiple times. And then on top of that, if you have something more serious, you're going to need a lot of wound care. So this isn't going to be a surgery kit. It's not what it's designed to be. This is so that you have the supplies you need to treat everyday wounds and surgeries and anything coming back from things, okay? Now, there are some expansions to the kit. You can get some good shears. These are a lot more durable than some of the cheap shears that I've gotten. These are $9, I believe, to add on to the kit. It's $49 to add on the burn shield onto there. If you want the ease of adding the burn shield, these are 10-pack in here. But I am going to say this because I am honest and I wouldn't lie to you. You can get these cheaper on Amazon. So you might want to just go, if you're going to get the burn treatment stuff, you can just get these in bulk on Amazon, cheaper. So I would recommend not going that route. Now, if you just want the ease and convenience of them stuffing it in the bucket for you, that's your money to do with as you want. But that's $49. I think you can get, for $56, you can get like 25 of those packs instead of that 10-pack. So you can spend a little bit more money and then cover 2.5 families, okay? Or just have it all for yourself. Or you can get a smaller kit and it'll be less than that. So you can save some money on that. So not everything on Refuge Medical is like the cheapest budget option. Some of the stuff they have there, like if you look at their IFAKs, their other first aid kits, their first responder kits, a lot of that is pretty and very competitively priced, okay? But not everything. You shop around always, like everything. And that was kind of my reluctance with this, is that I'm not cheap. I am frugal. I am budget conscious, and I am an accountant. So when I saw, especially when I started pulling stuff out of this bucket, and I was there like, I know I can get this stuff elsewhere. Now, some of this stuff you can't get at Walmart. So that's something. The other thing I will caution you on this though. Not all gauze is the same. There's cheap gauze out there, and if you want to throw together a bunch of cheap Dragon Country gauze, you might be able to get competitive with this bucket, but don't do that, okay? Make sure the gauze that you're getting is quality gauze, because what they can do is they can really weave it really fine, and you're not getting nearly as much actual material, and then they'll undercut the price on the other competitors. Make sure you're getting like a good brand, like an actual product. Make sure you're not getting just some cheap Chinese knockoff, right? Make sure that it's not just, lower quality. So, like I said, I cut a few corners. I was looking at like Equate, which is Walmart's brand, to find gauze and stuff like that. They don't have it in all sizes. I know that they're good quality, but I don't know for sure that they're as high quality as the medical field stuff. This is the kind of stuff that you go into a doctor's office or a hospital, and this is what you're going to see in there. And it's all individually wrapped with these nice fancy plastic bags, which I didn't even count. So like I said, even from just like if you tried to replicate this bucket, you couldn't do it for the price that they're doing it for. So I do recommend that. They did throw in the bucket Joe Fox's book, Pastor Joe Fox, you may know him as PJ. This book, which is the Survivalist Family, this is all for prepping. Okay, so this is not like post-SHTF information. This is all pre-SHTF information. So if you're looking for a guidebook on what to do, like how to stockpile, how to think your way through preparedness, and how to get your... I think that this book really shined best for how to get your family on board with things. Not convincing a family member to start prepping, like someone who's not in your household so much, or even a spouse on board. There's a little bit about that, but what this is really about is like if you have kids or a spouse and they're like at least listening to you and they're kind of on board, how do you bring them up to speed? How do you train your family? And that's what this book really shines. There's also a really great section in here about budgeting. I know, once again, I am an accountant, but I really love this line right here. How much is your life worth? That's a prepping question. That's a medical gear question. We saw last time the pats on the shoulders and the requirements were going around, we saw some medical facilities, mostly in other countries, in Germany and such, that started turning away people who had not gotten the injections. Okay? We saw that last time. When things come around again, do you think that the people out there that are bringing this, do you think that they would be willing to turn someone like you away from a hospital untreated? This is an honest question, and you may answer that with a no. I can't imagine they would ever do that. I think a lot of you would be on board with me saying, I can see that. If they determine my political affiliation, if they understand where I'm coming from, if they believe the bull snot coming out of Washington, D.C. or from the media, if they believe that I am responsible for the food shortage or the medical shortage or whatever shortage, if they put me in a category, I've seen how they go after people that are persona non grata, people that were protesting last year in the wrong place. I see how those people have been treated, as in worse than prisoners of war. I've seen that, and there's zero compassion given to them. I've seen how people from the Bear Country, citizens of that country, have been treated in Europe as well as the United States, having their personal assets seized just because their passport looks a certain color. It's crazy when this crowd turns on you. And we're going to see that in the coming weeks. We're seeing that Justice Kavanaugh's neighbors being harassed and threatened just because they live next to somebody. If you become part of the target crowd, I can absolutely see them saying, no, you're not allowed to get medical care. You may need to treat yourself. And even if that's not the case, if you're like, no, I can't see that happening, also think about what happens when those home workers come to change your dressing and they don't have any gauze. What happens when you go to the doctor's office and it's already been ransacked and they're like, well, we're here and we're cleaning up the glass, but all of our supplies have been taken in the looting. You may be able to get a medical professional to see and attend to you, but they may not have the supplies they need. That's a very real thing. Where do you think all this stuff comes from? Made in China. That's where it all is made in. And you know what? They're shut down over there. And what happens when they invade the little island off their coast and we start putting all sorts of tariffs and sanctions on them? How hard is it going to be to get that stuff now? Suddenly, that's going to become very scarce very quickly. It's going to take a while for American factories to spin up and other factories in other parts of the world to spin up to start making that stuff. When we get into a conflict with them over there, you are going to need medical stuff. When we get into a conflict here in the United States, you're going to need medical stuff. If you're working out in the yard and you get hurt, you're going to need medical stuff. Folks, make sure you have enough medical stuff stockpiled, and if you're stocking up on gauze, this is actually the budget way to go. All right, folks, that's the word I have for you here. Make sure that you use the discount code if you go over there. Don't pay full price. 10% off if you use the code Poplar. You can go down for the link down in the description down below or in the comment section down below. Make sure you use that code Poplar and get 10% off. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to the team over there. Please do be advised that they do shut down operations from sundown Friday night through sundown Saturday. So if you go to their website after like 6 or 7 p.m., you will get the screen of death saying come back in 23 hours, okay? Just be persistent on that. They do shut down for observation of Sabbath, so make sure that you do either get in before that or just be aware that you're going to have to come back Saturday night or later. Talk with your spouse about whether you should drop that money. And this is a great gift for people who like to hurt themselves, like dads. But some thoughts out there on these things, and I will see you guys later. If you like this video, you might want to check out this video up here as well. If you don't check that out, I will see you later. Steve Poplar out.